The blizzard had finally broken after 3 standard days, leaving Glacius 7 wrapped in an eerie silence that only deep snow could produce. Commander Vexral's chitinous plates clicked nervously as he surveyed the white wasteland through his helmet's display. Somewhere in this frozen hell, Sergeant Arya Chen had been missing for 72 hours. "Thermal signatures ahead," announced Lieutenant Kathresh, his reptilian eyes narrowing at the scanner. "Faint, but definitely organic. 0.7 kilometers northeast." The rescue team moved with practiced efficiency, their powered suits crunching through ice that would have killed any unprotected being in minutes. Vexral had commanded search and rescue operations across a dozen worlds. But losing a human always felt different. Humans were supposedly fragile, no natural armor, no thermal regulation worth mentioning, unable to survive in atmospheres that other species found merely uncomfortable. Yet somehow, they kept defying every logical prediction. "Contact visual," Kathresh hissed, his voice tight with something that might have been shock. The scene that emerged through the swirling snow particles shouldn't have been possible. Arya Chen sat propped against a massive glacier formation, her armor's power cell clearly dead, frost coating every surface of the unpowered exosuit. Her helmet visor was cracked, exposing her face to temperatures that registered -43 degrees. Her lips were blue, her skin pale as the snow around her, ice crystals forming in her short black hair. But she was breathing, shallow, barely perceptible movements of her chest beneath the armor plating. "Medic!" Vexral barked, rushing forward. Then he stopped dead in his tracks. There, nestled against Arya's chest plate, were 2 small shapes, cubs, Glacian frost lynx cubs, their silver-blue fur pressed tight against the human's torso. The armor panels across her midsection had been manually released and pulled open from the inside, creating a cavity where the animals huddled. A 3rd cub lay at her feet, clearly dead, its body frozen solid. "By the 7 suns," Kathresh whispered. She opened her own armor. In this cold, the medic, a Centaurian named Dr. Helt, scanned Arya rapidly. Core temperature, 28 degrees Celsius. Severe hypothermia. Frostbite on extremities. She should be dead. His voice held professional detachment. But his secondary arms trembled as he worked. "She's been generating just enough body heat to keep those cubs alive." Vexral understood immediately what had happened. Arya had found the cubs probably orphaned when their mother fell through thin ice or succumbed to the blizzard. Any rational being would have kept moving, conserved their energy, maintained their armor's integrity. The cubs were prey animals, insignificant in the grand scheme of survival. But humans, Vexral had learned, operated on a different calculation entirely. She had opened her armor, sacrificing her own thermal protection to create a warm pocket for creatures that weren't even her own species. She had burned her own body's reserves to keep them alive, even as her own cells began shutting down from the cold. It was insane. It was illogical. It was so perfectly, terribly human. "Get her to the shuttle," Vexral ordered. "Carefully. The cubs stay with her until we can transfer them properly." As the team lifted Arya's frozen form, one of the cubs, the larger one, probably male, made a small chirping sound. Its eyes, brilliant gold against silver fur, blinked open and fixed on the human's face. "That one's marked," Kathresh observed, pointing to the cub's left ear where a small identification tag glinted. "Finn. Research Station designation." These were Dr. Yarlith study subjects from the northern outpost. "The outpost that was evacuated last week," Vexral said grimly. Dr. Yarlith and his team had fled when their facility's shields failed, forced to leave behind non-critical materials. Apparently, they had also left behind their research animals. She must have found them when she got separated from the patrol. In the shuttle, as Dr. Helt worked frantically to stabilize Arya, Vexral watched the cubs. Finn, the larger cub, refused to leave the human's side even as his sibling was gently removed for examination. The small creature pressed against Arya's neck, its warm nose tucked beneath her jaw, still seeking the heat she had given so freely. "Vital signs stabilizing," Dr. Helt announced, surprise evident in his tone. "She's fighting. Her metabolism is accelerating recovery faster than I've seen in any species without regenerative abilities." "Stubbornness," Kathresh muttered. Humans run on pure stubbornness when logic fails them. 6 hours later, in the medical bay of the research vessel Endeavour, Arya's eyes finally opened. Vexral stood nearby, having refused to leave until she regained consciousness. The cubs, she rasped, her voice barely audible. Alive, Vexral assured her. Both survivors are healthy, thanks to you. Arya's cracked lips attempted a smile. Good. Couldn't just leave them. Finn was scared. They all were. You nearly died, Vexral said, not bothering to hide his incredulity. You opened your armor in a killing freeze to save animals that most species would consider expendable. Arya's eyes focused on him with sudden clarity despite her weakened state. Commander, when you see something small and scared and dying, and you have the power to help, you help. Doesn't matter what it is. That's not human. That's just right. Vexral's mandibles clicked in what humans had learned to recognize as his equivalent of a thoughtful nod. He had fought alongside 17 different species across the galactic arm. He had seen incredible acts of courage, brilliant tactical decisions, and remarkable physical feats. But only humans, he thought, would freeze themselves half to death for creatures that could offer nothing in return except the chance to live another day. The Galactic Council is going to call you reckless, he told her. Probably, Arya agreed, her eyes already drifting closed again. They'll say you violated survival protocols and endangered the mission. Definitely. And they'll never truly understand why you did it. Arya's smile grew fractionally wider. Don't need them to understand, Commander. Finn's alive. That's enough. As Vexral left the medical bay, he paused at the observation window where the cubs were being cared for in a specialized habitat. Finn sat at the edge of the enclosure, pressed against the transparent wall, golden eyes fixed on the doorway through which the human had disappeared. Waiting, Vexral realized. The cub was waiting for her. He pulled up his command log and began typing his official report. When he reached the section on Sergeant Chen's actions, he hesitated only briefly before writing. Subject: displayed exceptional judgment in crisis conditions, prioritizing the preservation of life in accordance with the highest standards of galactic ethics and human compassion. Let the Council argue with that, he thought. They had their regulations and protocols, but humans had something else, something that couldn't be quantified in survival statistics or tactical assessments. They had the stubborn, beautiful, occasionally suicidal belief that every life mattered, even when logic said otherwise. Especially then, and perhaps, Vexral reflected as he watched Finn's vigil, that was exactly what the galaxy needed more of.